Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this special LinkedIn Live event on the topic that's relevant in today's fast paced and ever changing business landscape: leading with purpose, engaging teams with continuous improvement and learning. I'm Red Lavina, by the way, and I'm back. So I'm happy to be here and I'm grateful to be here once again. And I'm thrilled to be your host for today's afternoon and for today's event. So before we dive in, and I'm encouraging everybody to participate via the comment section. You can introduce yourself there. You can ask your question. You can share your insights or share your thoughts about today's discussion and topic. And we're here to learn together. So, the purpose driven leadership, continuous improvement, and ongoing learning are crucial aspects of effective leadership in the modern world. And as leaders, it's essential that we not only have a vision, but also inspire our teams to rally behind that vision with us. And that's what purpose driven leadership is all about. And here's what we'll cover in today's LinkedIn Live event: to understand the purpose driven leadership, to engage teams in continuous improvement, and to empower a culture of learning. And that's what we want, right? On that note, to help us dive deeper into this, we have an incredible guest with us today, all the way from Bangalore, India. Our guest today is resilient, compassionate, and strategic professional with a strong management, consulting, and leadership focus in the leadership development, change management, well being, learning, and coaching industry. She focuses on helping organizations in turn their leaders, middle managers, high potentials, and team challenge and support their future growth opportunities. Having pursued her education in psychology, she has a keen interest in enhancing organizational and employee resilience and holistic well being. She enjoys client interactions and enhancing brand awareness and driving new business and human dynamic. She has been in the field of people management, consulting, training and development, and coaching for close to 14 years now. And she's been a certified business leadership coach by Sevi Systems Germany. I'm sorry. She champions in coaching and consulting in organizational change, resilience, well being, employee management and engagement, leadership transition coaching, and working with women during transition. She's the director of client relationships management, a colleague of mine in human dynamic. Ladies and gentlemen, let's all welcome Divya Khanna. Hi, Divya.
Hello, Red. Hi. Thank
How
you
do you
so
do
much for
today?
that. I'm doing well, thank you. And thank you
Uh,
for that lovely introduction. And I'm so happy to be here and so excited. I love your energy, and I think that's really going to rub off on me. And I really also welcome all our participants and audiences today. Looking forward to
hey,
today's conversation.
glad you're here, Divya, amidst your busy schedule.
Always have time for, I think, such conversations. And I think this is what we need to prioritize more. And especially when we're talking about leading with purpose, we're talking about continuous improvement and learning. So I think it's so important to have these conversations. Yeah.
I know, right? So, Divya, let's go into this. Why is continuous improvement and learning essential in the context of leading with purpose?
Yeah. I'm so passionate about the whole leadership and purpose piece. And, very recently I'd written an article in Human Dynamics monthly thought leadership newsletter, which is called The Influencer.
Oh, I read
And
that.
right, yeah. And, there was, a lot of, there's also obviously a lot of conversation around, you know, purpose and strategy and, where does it come? How does it really, work together? How do we make sense of that for leaders and for organizations? So I really would like to address the leading with purpose piece first. So I think purpose is ever present in everything that we do in our business as leaders, right? And we have seen that in times of crisis, and we also see that even today, with all the things that are happening around us in the world, with wars, with all these different technological advancements, changes, generative AI, and the likes, I think one thing that really anchors a lot of organizations and leaders is the fact that, we're trying to make sense of the uncertainty and the vagueness around us. And that sense making is purpose. And I think purpose really provides that guide to a lot of organizations and leaders to create any kind of an action or a change, right? So, purpose truly kind of allows any kind of a business strategy or the organization to stay agile, right? To stay relevant, and be instrumental in helping our teams to really navigate through this chaos, a lot of ambiguity that's really happening around us. It helps us to really find a signal in that noise and try to really focus it, the attention on what is important, and why are we doing what we're doing day in and day out as leaders and organizations. So purpose is then a choice that we make as leaders, which will inspire us as leaders to, to really be excellent and be authentic in our leadership style as well. So, where does continuous improvement and learning really come in, right? When we're talking about purpose for leadership or leading with purpose, I think even when we look at continuous improvement and learning, I think, like purpose, which basically helps us to understand the why, I think even with continuous improvement and learning, we need to ask the why question. It's very important. Why do we want to focus on continuous learning and improvement? Because it is going to really help us enhance our imagination, right? We will be a lot more curious as individuals, as leaders, as humans that are coming together as a community in an organization to do better than what we were doing yesterday, to do better for our clients, to be more contributive to the work that we do as an industry, various industries and organizations, and creating that value. Right, at the end of the day, it has to touch people's lives, it has to make some kind of a difference, right? So why do we want to continuously improve? Because we are going to be better, we are going to be continuously improving, make better decisions, we're going to make better products, services, going to solve problems perhaps differently. And for that, we need to be aware. For us to make nuanced decision making, we need to continuously learn, we need to continuously improve, right? And I think we all know about the very famous Japanese philosophy and term, which is kaizen, right? Where kai stands for change and zen is good, right? So I think it's about building that culture that, where all our teams and employees are going to be actively engaged to learn and improve, so that we are making better suggestions, implementing improvements to the work that we do as an organization, right? And I think that's very key. And I think at Human Dynamic as well, this whole kaizen philosophy, it comes to life, in a very lean organization. And even at HD, as a lean consulting firm ourselves, it's our natural way of thinking and executing, right? So I think it's very important that we must engage in ongoing professional development activities as leaders. We have to always be speaking to like-minded or not like-minded leaders in the industry, peers in the industry, attend more conferences, speak more, um, be part of LinkedIn conversations like these, live conversations like these. And I think constantly pick each other's brains, try and meet new people, because that's where we will challenge or look at new perspectives of doing things differently or learning something new, right? So the formal learning and the informal learning is very, very important. So how can we implement that on an everyday, on a weekly basis, so that we are able to be more effective as leaders and mitigate obstacles and different change and challenging situations around us. So I think that's why it's very important the why of continuous improvement and learning in the context of purpose-led leadership. Yeah, that's what I think.
I couldn't agree more, Divya. That's so spot on. A reflection of yours. They're the element of or the cornerstones of um, the role or the essential role of purpose, continuous improvement, and learning
Yeah,
play a role in driving organization towards change, moving forward, getting better, improving, developing,
yeah,
growing, flourishing. That's those are the terms that I could think of. So yeah, thank you,
yeah.
Divya.
Yeah, and
So
I want
how
to
can
make a disclaimer. I want to make a disclaimer, Red. I'm no expert. I think all of us are learning every day in our work, in our everyday, communities and experiences as societies. And I think that sense of curiosity and that imagination is all that's needed, and that good intent. That's all needed, to really kind of just get better as individuals every day. So I think I'm no expert, but I'm just going to really reflect on my experiences of how we've been also serving our clients in this space and doing a lot of leadership work, right? And on purpose, authentic leadership, inclusive leadership. So for me, as a client relationship individual working with clients day in and day out, I think I'm going to be really digging in on those experiences. So yeah, I hope that insights and those experiences help for our audiences today.
resonate so much to me, Divya? So how can leaders inspire and engage their teams to actively participate in continuous improvement initiatives?
Yeah, yeah. I think the responsibility for leaders is always paramount. It's always huge. Leaders play that pivotal role, and it will continue to be so important because we're talking about future leadership skills, navigating uncertainty. How can we be ready as future leaders, right? And it needs to take that lens of curiosity and learning. So I think continuous improvement is an ongoing effort to improve all elements in an organization, right? We look at processes, we look at tools that organizations use, we look at products, our services. So it rests on, the belief that a steady stream of improvements. It doesn't have to be very big changes, big improvements, but consistent, small, steady improvements which are done frequently and diligently executed. It will have transformative results. And that's the whole concept of continuous improvement, right? But how can leaders play that inspirational, engaging role with their teams, right? So that their teams and people and the organization's culture itself is very active when it comes to continuously improving and learning. And I think leaders have to display an open mindset. So for me, that's the first, right? Leaders have to display an open mindset themselves, so encourage independent search for knowledge, welcome shared learning in their teams, in their organizations, engaging all their team members in sharing knowledge, and generating improvement ideas. These are all examples of how role modeling continuous learning and improvement showcases from leadership to the teams. It mirrors, and that kind of ignites inspiration, right? So a team discussing and exploring better ways to deliver to clients, for instance, and to respond to changes in the market or the environment, it's very key. And even at Human Dynamic, in fact, even yesterday, we have on a monthly basis, we have these internal leadership and change conferences, right? So it's like a program for all of us at Human Dynamic as an organization to come together, no matter what role you play, no matter which department or team you are from. We all come together, as an entire organization, in client facing, consulting, sales, marketing, no matter which role, to promote informal and formal knowledge sharing, right? We have to explore every idea together and bring in that additional expertise as needed. So I think these are examples of being open as leaders, having that open mindset. And I think the second is that leaders should try and see how they can make uh, the organizational goals and team goals when it comes to improvement and learning public. Talk about it openly, make it transparent, make it vocal, make it public, make it known, so that it can cascade those goals at an individual level as well. So progress towards those goals must also be transparent. It needs to be tracked to give people in front line and the management clear visibility into what is working, what is not working, what needs to work. So I think that's where truly learning happens, on the job, everyday learning, right? It cannot be looked at as a silo function. It has to happen on an everyday basis, right? So leaders truly can inspire and motivate their teams by involving themselves. I think that's very important. We need to involve ourselves as leaders. For example, like frontline employers are closest to the work that happens with clients. For instance, they are the ones who are either on the foot, on the feet, doing a lot of client work and deliverables and things like that, and they will have the richest insights on the challenges from the market point of view, from a client and a customer point of view. So they are the right people to really talk about how can we as organizations and leaders, with our processes, services, tools, improve. So when our clients, at HD, we work with our clients all the time with different kind of leadership and change related initiatives. So when our clients really kind of struggle with certain kind of, say, developing their morale or motivation in their frontline managers, for example, or middle managers, then we go straight to that source. We go to the middle manager source or to the frontline manager source, and through conversations with them, try and uncover certain issues that are needed to be addressed, right? And many a times we've helped our clients also identify that perhaps it's insufficient onboarding, or it is maybe a lot of burdensome administrative duties that the middle managers or managers hold, which is preventing them to be more effective in leading their teams, right? So I think that's where you know leaders can inspire their teams, be open in their mindset, try and keep the learning transparent, involve themselves in the process. So I would really call out on these three key aspects for leaders.
Uh, you you have beautifully emphasized the significance of continuous improvement and how leadership plays a pivotal role in nurturing the culture. So it's clear that continuous learning and improvement isn't just a concept, but a practical reality in every organization. And it, like in HD, in human dynamic, like it has exemplified our monthly leadership and change conferences, and it's happening across Asia and across the countries, and the commitment to knowledge sharing and exploration. And I
Yeah.
I guess the takeaway my takeaway would be the making organizations and team goals public and tracking progress transparently not only keeps everybody aligned, but also it ensures that everyone has a clear view of what's working and what's happening and what requires much attention. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So
Absolutely.
what?
Yes.
So for your next question, Divya, so what role does leadership play in creating an environment where teams are motivated to embrace continuous learning and improvement?
Mm, yeah, 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 yeah. I think the role of leadership is tough. It's very tough, but as we've always heard, it's so rewarding as well when we actually see that impact, being created with the work or with those coaching conversations, or a lot of the one-on-ones that we end up doing with our teams to really get them to be better than before, right? So yes, the role of leadership is very, very important in creating that environment so that everyone's motivated and excited about learning, right? And I think I remember this from a recent conference that I attended in Singapore as well, the L&D Asia conference. And I think wherever we talk about learning or continuous improvement, we definitely are hearing about how we have moved into an era of efficient, continuous, rapid learning, where hyper adaptability is the key, right? So it's about rapid learning, continuous improvement, efficiency, being agile, speed, velocity, hyper adaptability, right? So even when it comes to learning, I think this is very essential to the process. And the skills that are really needed for leaders and the roles that the leaders need to display is the skills of extraction and the transfer of learning, I would say, so that their teams can be motivated. So when we talk about extraction, it refers to applying learning in diverse environments or diverse situations to understand the cause, the events, the results. It means pausing for trying to kind of take feedback and reflect on rather than just kind of it's a learning concept, right? The extraction of learning. How do we form new learning habits and things like that? So for us as leaders, we need to ask questions to our teams like, what did we learn, right? Or how can we apply this learning elsewhere? So often we're moving fast and we're trying to be efficient. But if we're not taking the moment to talk about what worked and what did not work, we can, what can we do to improve in the future? There is definitely going to be a missed opportunity, right? And I think this is how we can keep that learning inspiring and motivating for our teams. I think constantly, I think revisiting with the teams and asking these very important purposeful questions, and that's where even purposeful leadership comes into action in behavior with the work that leaders do, is that ask questions to really, it has to be very simple questions. We do a lot of this even with our learning interventions or with any products or trainings that we create. How could we make this better? What could we do differently the next time, right? So it's very important to keep asking these questions. And I think leaders really need to welcome feedback. And I think when we talk about being transparent and open and really kind of taking learning, right, or creating that culture of learning and continuous improvement, I think it's important to be authentic and ask for feedback. Otherwise, when we are debriefing conversations, it will be through probably different channels, and lessons will be lost along the way, right? So it has to be very open, and we need to be open as leaders to take that developmental feedback from our teams as well. It's okay to get those improvements, get those enhancement feedback from someone who's way junior to you in experience and age, and perhaps from different generations as well. And I think that's where I think that would spark a lot of motivation in teams as well. And the second aspect that I spoke about, which is the transfer of learning, right? That learning doesn't last unless leaders transfer that knowledge from their experiences, to the teams, to the organization. So leaders can do this with their orgs, with their teams, by linking, by repeating, by teaching, right? So that's why I think extraction and transfer of learning is very, very important. So how can we identify also what type of learners are we dealing with in our organization? We all know about the fixed mindset and the growth mindset, right? People who are open to learning, who want to continuously adapt. They value a lot of feedback from teams. Learning is done in small increments. We kind of look at personalized learning, micro learning, all of that, right? But what are the type of learners in our organization? I think being cognizant of that, being aware of that, is also very important. And I think leaders and management play a very pivotal role, as we are talking about it in your question. And we must look at formalizing continuous learning as well, upskilling, and all of that has to be really formalized. And one possible resource is also peer coaching and leadership coaching or one-on-one coaching. So where whatever cohorts that you identify who need to go through a learning program, or in your organization when you're trying to create that learning culture, managers take that time, or leaders take that time to educate themselves and to also educate their peers, right? So a lot of peer learning, peer coaching also is fantastic. So such learning is often assumed to take place, but it's rarely formalized. So my point here is to try and formalize that learning. And a good way to start probably would be, specific setting specific times when peers can share. So maybe it could be like Friday sharing circles, for example, and certain regions in human dynamic come together on certain days where a new skill, a new book, a new movie, or whatever else that we want to talk about, work or non-purposeful conversations as well, helps in a lot of learning and peer exchange, right? So that's a good place to also start when it comes to sharing tips, insights, praising one another, and learning from each other as well. So I think supporting each other is also very crucial. Leaders supporting their teams in this continuous learning is also very crucial. So I think these would be what will really inspire the teams and get them, really excited and create that spark for continuous learning and improvement.
Very well said, Divya. I remember the sharing part. We used to have that in South ASEAN. So we just
Yeah,
we one of us would share an article or a journal or research, and we're going to discuss that within the group amongst us. So we basically were five or four, six, and we were mixed of CRMs, we're mixed of consultants also. So we're just
yeah,
talking about our experiences within amongst us, and
yeah,
it's basically insightful and gives me the knowledge. You do that in your country, you do that, this is your practice. So it's just an aha moment that maybe I could try this too. If it works, it works. If
yeah.
it's not, try some more, try another alternative, or try alternative activities that could help and inspire people. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, yes, yeah. And the
Yeah, thank
more
you for
it
that.
happens in, daily, I think, conversations, nothing like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's great. The conversations within the group and the leaders with their employees as well. So how can leaders measure and evaluate the impact of continuous improvement and learning initiatives on team engagement and organizational success?
Yeah, I think this is always a very difficult and a hard topic, right? The whole measurement and the evaluation of impact on a lot of your internal processes, or tools, or whatever new implementations which will help either the product go to market, or your services, or the team's efficiency and things like that, and of course from a learning standpoint as well. Um, but I think often the results of an improvement, could be measured in the fact that, either we are, from the softer aspect of things. So I want to answer this question from the fact that, yes, measurement with metrics, with certain tangibles like ROI measures and all of that is great, and it's much needed, and it creates a lot more buy-in from internal stakeholders and different stakeholders, and then you kind of get further budgets to do other things. But I think the softer, um, the softer savings for organizations, I think, are equally important. The intangible ways of measuring impacts are also very, very important. And many a times when we look at, if there is a shorter time to go to market for an organization, or if there is a more efficient process which makes it possible for each person in the team, or your resource, to do more, then we are looking at impacts. We are looking that things are working, and we can say that, yes, this is working for us, and leaders can make that measurement. So if we see our teams being efficient and saving time than before, then that's a good measure, right? So these are the softer savings, like time savings, for instance. So they may not directly or impact on the revenue increase or decrease of the revenue, But I think it's very important. And I think even client satisfaction, we take a lot of surveys, we take a lot of, you know, like qualitative testimonials and things like that, ratings, focus groups. It can happen in any form, but I think it's very important to get that kind of response from your clients, hear it from your clients, and I think that's a great measure as well to evaluate the impact of the continuous improvement of different processes or, you know, product services that organizations are continuously developing. I think also taking in that internal team, employees, and the team's satisfaction is very important. You know, so we all know that what gets measured gets managed, right? So think about the things that our organization needs to improve and create metrics around them, right? So even with learning, I think, you know, who are the stakeholders? You know, how do we engage the evaluation of stakeholders? What are the needs of stakeholders? So it's important to identify who these stakeholders are, and learning about their expectations, their concerns, their perceptions is so important. So whenever we go into, you know, any projects at Human Dynamic, if it's a leadership development program, for instance, we try and really, you know, work with our clients and really push them that let's do this diagnostics, let's do the needs analysis. It's so important to really get those expectations right for us to create that right intervention for you, right? So when we put that effort right at the beginning, we increase the likelihood that the results will be both relevant and helpful, right? So a lot of focus on also when we talk about learning and we create that culture of learning or create these initiatives, you know, of learning as programs within organizations. I think again some questions to ask which would be helpful is what goal or what broad objective is addressed by this initiative or this learning program that we're running, right? What are the objectives? What's the context? You know, what knowledge and skills is this initiative and this program that is being designed to develop, right? What actions or behaviors will reflect that those desired, you know, learnings or behavior shifts or mindset shifts are going to really take place? You know, how will we know that the learning has occurred? What should be the signs of success? How will it look differently? What degree of improvement are we expecting from this? You know, so I think also engaging the evaluation of the stakeholders as well as the initiative of the program, and many other things that, you know, will come into the picture as well. So I think I would really like to focus on these initial critical components which will help us, that these are various ways in which we can measure and evaluate the learning of continuous improvement, um, and if different initiatives, so that there is engagement in teams so that we can do this again and then we will see positive results. And these are efforts. The efforts is what really, you know, matters. How much of the impact will happen or not? Will there be a change or not? That's for later, that's for us to see later, right? But I think with the right intent and with efforts that are being put in and bringing the right kind of different minds to help you also put the right kind of a measure or an evaluation practice or a design is very important as well. Yeah.
Your insights are very rich, Divya. I like it.
It kind of is a bias from the work that we do at Human Dynamics. So I hope that it would make sense to the people who are listening in to their industry as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So for the last question, Divya, before we end this
Yeah. Yeah.
live event, what are the long-term benefits of engaging teams in continuous improvement and learning in the context of leading with purpose?
Yeah, yeah. I think I've kind of touched upon, you know, many benefits, but I would definitely say that, you know, um, when we're driven to achieve something, you know, and that magic that makes us like tick, that whole compass, that purpose, that why are we doing this, you know? it's not what you do, but it's how you do it and why you do it, right? So your strengths, your passions that we bring to conversations every day at work, no matter what our role is, where we are seated, it's the long term benefits I would see of that would be better, I think a better culture in an organization when it comes to how people take decisions, how people solve problems, how we are able to do things at speed, how agile we are, how faster we are when it comes to our innovation and our creativity. So I think the ability to engage in nuanced decision making can help us stay employable. It can help us in this age of artificial intelligence, machine learning, all of that, right? And I think there are so many benefits or long term benefits when we look at how we can engage our teams. We are going to totally kind of empower them, help them to obviously better versions of themselves, be more employable, be more. I know we were doing one conversation, with an India human resource kind of a director who's heading one of the tech companies here, and she was talking about when the role of our team members, or rather, when we start making our role as leaders redundant, that's when we are going to find true success, right? So I think that's the kind of continuous learning and improvement benefit that I would see as an organization, that people are, the roles are getting redundant because there's space for something new, right? And yeah, I would say that these are those long term benefits that organizations will gain out of it. Yeah. So there's no rocket science or no nothing new, I think, or different that we need to do as leaders, as purposeful leaders. But I think look in, be authentic, stay intent, stay very true to our intentions, that why are we wanting to do this and how can we genuinely make a difference to the work for our clients, for our teams. And automatically I think the good effects will happen. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Divya. I'm trying to digest everything, but the part where you say you have to be authentic and genuinely help people for their improvement to better themselves of skill. Yeah, no words. Chef's kiss. It's
Thank
very
you.
beautiful and rich. So it resonates so much. But yeah, we don't have much time left, Divya. I'm so
Hmm.
grateful that you're here with us today. And for our audience, for our virtual audience, we wish to hear from you. You can connect with us, Divya and I, through LinkedIn. You can
Yeah.
message us if you have questions, if you have topics or thoughts, insights that you want to discuss with us. So it's fine. You can message us. And yeah, we had an incredibly discussion, very incredible and insightful discussion for today. And I'm so thankful and grateful for everybody joining us. And to our wonderful audience, thank you here to that you're able to join us also. And remember, we the journey of leadership is ongoing. And we hope you leave this session with new ideas and inspiration to lead with purpose and drive positive change within your teams and your organizations. Also, I would like to invite everybody also for our upcoming Leadership and Change Conference come this November 23rd at Marco Polo Ortigas, Philippines on leading from middle through continuous improvement and learning with our special speakers, Alexander Denki Banov and Jose Angelo Pohol. For more details, please visit our LinkedIn page here, Human Dynamic Philippines, and or message me through LinkedIn. So, and stay tuned for more upcoming LinkedIn live events. And don't forget to connect with both. Yeah, don't forget to connect with us. I'd love to hear from you. But until next time, keep leading with purpose, fostering continuous improvement, and embracing the power of learning. Bye, Divya. Bye, everyone. Thank you, Divya. Have a good day. Have a good
Thank
day.
you.
Bye. Thanks, guys.